have an awful lot for today's agenda, but had just a few things we want to talk about, and we'll cover them as we go. Angela may have a couple of updates for us. We'll see before we leave. Got some miscellaneous things I want to touch base with you just a little on, and that didn't make the agenda today, but we'll get to those in a minute. We still have a few thoughts to share about the COVID-19 as it relates to the CARES Act. Of course, the virus is still with us, and the governor today has extended our mask order through August, and still a lot of talk about the mask. There's a lot of talk about vaccines. COVID still prevails in our communities, and a lot of testing's going on. A lot of cases are turning up. Even in our own ranks, we've had people off, and we were having to clarify some matters of our off time for our people, as to whether or not they were charged with sick days. And we found that through the CARES Act, I believe it was, is that correct, that they're covered under that and will not have to be charged for their days off as sick days. So,
as long as they provide a doctor's excuse.
yeah, we will have to have the doctor's excuse for them to be off. But if they are affected by the COVID-19, either sick or under quarantine from having to be around family members that have it, I believe they'll be exempt. That's my understanding. We did talk with our city attorney about that, and he kind of guided us through it as best we understand the ruling. So we really weren't sure, and we went to some extra effort to find out, so we didn't have to take sick days away from our employees. All of our employees that have tested positive are seemingly handling it very well, and I believe one or two of them maybe have already come back to their jobs, and maybe the others will be rejoining us when their quarantine time is over, and they've had their fever gone for the allotted time. So this is kind of still, to me, a mystery illness. I don't understand it exactly yet. How you get the stuff, it's through some sort of contact. I believe and I perceive that everybody thinks it's a contact type thing. The mask seems to have effects, probably you transmitting it to someone else, I think, is where you get more protection. I understand the mask is not all inclusive coverage for you not taking the stuff, but maybe if you don't give it away to someone else if you're wearing the mask. So that's kind of my understanding. We've tried to, as much as we can, social distance and make sure that we stay as close to the rule as we can. Always advocating that as long as the mask rule is in place, and it seems to be important, the city certainly is for the mask and not opposed to it. The COVID questions, if anyone has any questions, we'll try to get you an answer. I may not have the exact answer on this, but we'll try to get you the answer. If any of our council should have any questions come up about this, feel free to call me or Angela, and we'll get you an answer about it. We just hope that we have a very limited amount of people that come down with it. It can be disruptive to your workforce if a lot of people get it. So we hope we can keep it to a limit of very few, and we're sorry for those that had it, because I've actually talked to a couple of people who've had it, maybe 3 now, and they are pretty much getting over it or over it, and they said it's a very unpleasant illness, and of course we have some that didn't make it through it. Been some conversation recently in my presence about the Munsingware property. We have not really designed a specific plan for that property. We've spent a lot of money on other projects in the last couple of years, and we kind of let that property lay. I just wanted everybody to know and remember that we've got a lifetime eternal, I guess, covenant on that property. We cannot disturb the soils or the areas of those settling ponds that were filled in with chunk rocks and soil. Those cannot be dug into under our EPA covenant that we received. It's just we thought we were going to get a totally clean piece of property, and we got it with this restrictive covenant that says we cannot dig there and make any kind of foundations or anything that goes beneath the surface around and in those settling ponds. So I think that's going to limit us somewhat as to what we actually can do with the Munsingware property in the future when we decide to develop it. But I hated that we got it with that covenant after spending a lot of money to clean it up, but that's the final review of the property. They wouldn't give us a total clean bill of health on the property as to those settling ponds. They still are off limits as far as us ever digging into them or putting a foundation beneath the surface where they are. And I don't know anything else to say about that. I don't have an immediate plan to develop it, but in case a plan starts to come into focus, we need to keep in mind that we can only cover those with sod or some play area. We can't dig into them, and just wanted to mention that. Third on the agenda, the Cobbin Circle matter will be coming to the meeting. According to Scott, I called him and asked him would we be able to have the Cobbin Circle matter on the agenda Monday night. We put that off for several weeks. Closing one leg of the Cobbin Circle that goes on Regency and Highway
81. Is it 81?
I think it's 81, yeah. I've got some little drawings here that Mr. Cobbin brought. But one leg of this, of course, that will stay open to serve his house, Stephen Cobbin, Loretta Watson, and I believe it's Coy Jeffrey and there's another Cobbin involved. Anyway, all these are Glenn Cobbin's people that are affected by this. Loretta Watson is the only one that's not family that's affected by this, and she signed a statement that she will agree to the closing of this leg that he's wanting to close. So he's going to be here and answer any questions you may have Monday night concerning this before we vote. So I've invited him to the meeting. So I just wanted y'all to know that that'll be on the agenda, and he'll be here to answer questions before we bring it to a vote as to whether we close one leg of the Cobbin Circle. I don't think anybody's going to be distressed about it, but
well, I looked at that once before. If you close that, is that going to close somebody off that's on it now that's using it to go in and out?
there's 2 roads that go in here this road and this road, and Glenn is the only one that's living over there in a house right now. His family's moved to Birmingham at these other houses, except Loretta. She can come in here and right to her house. This is the leg that'll stay open, that's closer to the main road. And she could have come off this Regency place that goes through the edge of Oak Hill subdivision and come off Regency to her house. But she signed a paper when he asked her to sign that said that she would be willing to use this road right here.
But we're not going to cut off anybody's property.
Everybody that's got a house in there can still get to their house.
Is it gonna make it tougher for somebody to get to their house?
I'm not certain. I'd like for us to address that with Glenn.
I think that should be addressed first,
Yeah,
because I'm not, I don't know anything about it. But
Yeah.
I don't wanna cut anybody off that's had that road open for this last 40 years and using it to go to their house or to their property.
yeah.
That would not, somebody's wanting this cut off for a reason.
He says his dog keeps getting run over and people come through there that really are nuisance, and they fish in his pond and then run off and things like that.
We reckon we can close up Highway 78 going up the road there by my house. If I had a dog, he'd get killed doing about 50 or 60 miles an hour there before you get to that red light.
I understand.
I can't.
Well, he'll be here to answer your questions and
I
we'll
don't even know who you're talking about, and I'm not, it's just that something that's been open as long as that has, seems to me that somebody is using that and it's useful to them. And that's been open forever. And I don't even know where it is, but any of y'all know? What do you think about, is that going?
I don't know about who it stopped or anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Wouldn't you hate to vote to, you know, if they've been using it for, I don't know, ever since, don't tell them how many years, and then you come in and stop it up, you know?
But if everybody is connected with it, they've agreed to close it.
Yeah, we have the two other homeowners that said it's fine with them to just use one leg of it.
I can understand that, but there may be other people besides just them people that live there that use that road. And aren't the other people got property on by there too? I don't even know where it is, but
No, there's no other,
every,
this right here that goes to Loretta's house up here is a dead end. No matter where she goes, she has to come back and come out Cobbin Circle Road to get back to the main road. She was allowed to buy land back here, her and her husband, when he was living, to build them a house from some of these folks, and they gave them an easement to go to their house off their roads. And she's the only one that's got a house up here that doesn't have any other outlet. At this time, the people that own this other house are not living here. They've moved to Birmingham. And Loretta is the only one, and Glenn is the only other person that's living in their houses. So
yeah, I don't even know where it is, but I know that
it's in Weston.
if somebody wanted to develop this land, say here, or something, you know, I don't know.
Cobbins own all the rest of the property.
All right.
He'll answer all your questions.
I'd just like to make sure that everybody over there that has use of the road now,
Yeah.
that they understand and agree to close the road.
Right.
I just, what do y'all think about it, Herbert?
Yeah, but I know where the property is, but I'm not familiar, I know the neighbors or anything.
I'm not either, see, but if that road's been there as long as it's been there, probably, somebody's gonna be against, I bet you, closing that. It's,
We will know more about it when we get our questions answered by him. I think you're gonna find that it's okay with everybody.
well, that's fine if it's okay with everybody, but
I believe it's gonna be proven that it's
Because I
okay.
really don't know, I really don't understand exactly where it is right now.
I'll go over our way.
Okay.
Over.
Okay,
It's, if you're, I rode around it twice this morning, there's, you know where Lloyd and Shirley Pons live?
yeah, I built a house.
Okay, well, if you go past their house, like you're going toward 81, it's gonna be the first road on your left after you pass their house. And it's
Their house is in the
circles-
Valley subdivision, isn't it?
It's over,
Yeah,
Oak Hill.
yeah, close to Oak Hill.
I built a house over there, built all the houses in,
So,
over there in Oak Hill, see. And I think I know where you're speaking now, that road, we'll go look. In other words, I think my road stopped up there at Oak Hills when I built those last houses down that way.
I believe this man's had this property for a pretty good while.
I'm not trying to, don't get me wrong, but I just hate to get into
You know,
blocking.
our idea was not to mistreat anyone.
Yeah, and blocking something.
It's just a
somebody's been
request,
using.
he's
Yeah.
made this request of the city for various reasons. He gave 3 or 4 reasons why that he needs this to happen. And
Who is it? I don't even know.
Glendon Cobbin. Glendon Cobbin.
Yeah, I don't know, so I'm not saying this or talking against it,
Yeah.
About it,
He
because
worked,
I don't even
he
know who
worked
we're
away
talking
from here and he's come back and retired on some of the family property, I think.
okay, Herbert and I'll go over there.
Okay, take a look at it
Yeah.
because I want you to have a full understanding about it.
Well,
I've been over there various
Yeah,
times to
it's-
take a look at it.
It's not, well, I built, I don't know where it stopped there, see, I built all those houses that comes down there and joins it over there. That comes up to the Ballard subdivision, what you're saying.
Regency Place runs right through the Oak Hills and Ballard.
I built every one of those, so you
Yeah.
built all those roads through there.
Yeah.
But I still don't understand what we're speaking of right now without
Yeah.
seeing, you know. Herbert and I'll go, Herbert knows where it is. I don't wanna
He'll
be, I'm
take
not
you-
trying to
he'll
build,
take-
but
he'll take you
I don't
around.
wanna shut somebody off that shouldn't be shut
I
off.
understand. We explored, something for Mr. John Berryhill. He's had this request in to, get water service over to, his area, and that's, south of Hamilton, off the Fulton Bridge Loop. He's over in the valley, that goes down Dugan, is it Dugan Creek?
Yeah.
I guess the edge of his pasture down there has Dugan Creek running through it, but he's out of water. And it's a good long ways from any water mains, probably a couple of miles. There's about 5 potential customers over there in the valley. But I got Rodney to have our engineer that kind of works with him to formulate a plan and to give us an approximate cost estimate. The cost estimate would be $335,000 to get water over there to about 5 customers and accommodate Mr. Berryhill's need.
They wouldn't even pay the interest on the money
Uh,
at 2% or no percent.
We will have to have a duplex booster pump station installed inside the line to push that much water over the hill to him, and it's gonna take a water main, not a 2-inch line. We can't possibly do it with a 2-inch line. We wouldn't have a trickle when we get over there to him on a 2-inch, going over that big hill and pushing the water 2 miles. He wouldn't have enough volume either. So it's gonna take partly 8-inch piping and then 6-inch piping to get it over there. And we'll have to have one directional bore. It's probably about a $10,000 bore.
You need to drill it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, 55.
drilling my well, ourselves to do that.
$55,000 for the booster pump itself. The other's just miscellaneous, iron fittings at 13,500. Engineering, 25,000, inspections, 14,800. All of it sums up to $335,000. And right now, unless that valley develops, there's only about 5 or 6 customers we could possibly ever get over there. So it'd be a very expensive endeavor. And I don't know if there's any chance that there's any kind of rural water development grants that could help pay for this, but those are usually matching grants where we'd have to put up 20 to 25% of the money probably, and still it would be very expensive anyway we go at it.
Well, we just ain't got the money to do that. We don't have the money to spend $400,000 for
We've tried to.
one customer
we've
and then
tried-
hoping you get 2 or 3 more.
Tried to recommend maybe a drilled type well, and of course they're saying that most of the drillers don't want to drill in that rocky soil over there. There's layers of sand rock over in that area that's tough to drill through, so most of the drillers don't want to guarantee them water if they drill. And
Well, if they got sand rock and stuff, we're gonna have to drill through it to get the water line into it.
yeah, laying the line's not going to be easy.
That's what I mean.
And that could cost extra even.
Yeah.
Might be some extensive work to just lay the pipe, but, while we wanna help our citizens, it just looks cost prohibitive at this time to me, and, he kinda wanted to come and talk to the council. I don't know, I'm gonna try to get with Mr. Berryhill and give him this list of costs and just show him what we're up against. And
Who is that?
Mr. John Berryhill.
He sees that,
But
might say 400,000. If you think it's gonna cost you 350 or 60,000, you know what it's gonna cost you before you get through another 50,000 more.
it's already projected to be very expensive, and even more than I had dreamed. Of course, he made some comments that he could come up with some money to help bear the expense, but not anywhere close to these numbers.
But he's got some money. What's the one, just for he could dig a well.
Well, that's what was suggested, but he actually said he tried 12 different drillers that turned him down. They finally found somebody in Tennessee that would come, but they're 8 months behind with their drilling now.
Well, maybe you know as well as I do if that's true too. There's no telling, if you started trying to put a water line in there that far and that many miles, there's no telling what you'd run into.
That's potentially.
I mean, that would be, he ought to know better than that. I mean, the city could afford everybody in Hamilton paying more for the water bills and things to give him water over there through solid rock.
We used to maintain a spring over in the hills, and it went bad. He says now his well's failing, and he's going to be without water soon if he's not already. His daughter's already moved out of there because she had no water to supply her home that she had beside him up there. But this is just a situation where it looks cost prohibitive to me, and I just don't see how we can afford to do it. If we were serving 50 or 100 houses, you know, you get your grant money and match it, and you soon come out okay, but we're talking about 4 or 5 customers. One of the people that live over there has got a good well and don't need water from us, so others may have. I know at least one of them's got a good well and probably wouldn't hook on if we put water over there.
Personally, I wish we could, but anybody should. I can't see how anybody would ask us to spend $300,000 or $400,000 to run water if it's 5 or 10 customers there.
Well, that's kind of what we're up against, and he's visited me several times requesting water, and this is, finally, we did a study to see what it would cost
Yeah,
us
right.
through an engineer that knows how to design water plans, and this is the actual figures that we could pretty much rely on, except for those rocks over there. We don't know about the installation. We didn't put any extra in there for installing. Angela, did you have anything, you just found out that we're gonna be looking at our Gatsby rule for our assessments, income assessments and stuff?
Yes.
Employees that are still receiving benefits from the city, is that what that pertains to?
It is, it's a new rule, it's a Gatsby 75, and it pertains to any kind of benefits employees are getting after they have retired from the city. They do that study every year. Yeah, I just got it today, so I feel like we've just finished that, so it's time to do it
Yeah.
again.
Comes around quickly. So we'll be dealing with that in the next few days, especially Angela will have to do a report.
Yeah, I think Amy's working on it right now on that.
Okay, Amy helps her. And a lot of this is benefits that the city's still paying to retirees, I guess.
Yes.
And that causes assessment concerns in our budget, and we're looking at that right now. Do you know of it, we haven't got deep enough into planning the agenda. Do you know of any other important things that we'll have on the Monday night agenda?
I don't, I try to jot things down as they're coming up, and I don't have anything except the usual, the minutes and then accounts payable, and Calvin Circle's gonna be on there
Yeah.
Monday night. Do we need to have that like a public hearing like we?
Yeah, we'll have
normally
that
do?
before we get into the discussion of our, whether or not we're gonna do it for him.
Okay. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
I had reported that our fire code had remained a 6. The fire chief corrected me on that. He said we remained a 4. He said that's better than a 6. So I stand corrected. I knew it was a good report, but I reported it a little more severe. He said, I want you to know that's a 4 rating that we retained, not a 6 rating. So anyway, it was good, and much better than I even perceived. So I'm thankful for that. Do you all have anything you want?
Before we go look at that property over there, is he wanting the one from, the subdivision over at his house, or the one going in from the other way?
He wants to close the one from the Regency that goes up through the subdivision. He wants to go over to Highway 81 and come in from over there. Sure does.
So is he wanting to close his access too? Is he wanting it closed right there at Regency, or is he wanting to use it like to his driveway entrance and then close it for making a circle
Yeah, he wants it cut off at the road.
at Regency?
Yes.
So he's gonna be coming in from the back way too?
Yeah. He'll have the same entrance as Low Road.
You know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
On this other, now, where'd you say it was located, this,
We'll go over there.
the 300 something, how much one it's going to spend $500,000?
Yeah.
Six customers.
Go down Florida Bridge, take the left, go back in there. I know where it is.
Okay.
Goes over the hill and over in the valley over
In
there.
between 55 and Military South.
Yeah,
You know,
Les
okay.
Walters lives on that road, and, at one time, Dr. Kerr had a house over on that road.
I don't know where it is when we
Yeah,
get over there.
yeah, yeah. John's got a pretty little farm down there, he just doesn't have any water.
He's got a nice branch that runs down
Yeah.
that big creek.
Yeah, he's got, if he wanted to filter some water out of Dugan, he got plenty of it down there. Les waters his garden and flowers out of Dugan Creek, yeah. Sure does,
Well, I'd like for everybody to have water, but
yeah.
under our condition right now, the money we've already spent this past 4 years,
Out of the question.
it's out of the question of us doing something that's not going to pull something big time in here to the city start making money from.
Do you have anything else? Ash?
I'd just like to mention, we're starting to get a pretty big response on absentee voting. So if that's something that anybody's interested in, just, you need to contact me or Amy next here at City Hall.
I think absentee's gonna be a big item with this COVID still raging. I'm not sure how many people wanna come to a polling place, so I think absentee voting will be a big thing in
What's-
the municipal election.
What's the deadline?
I'd have to look, but you can do like an emergency ballot.
Right now, she just take an
My
application.
brain's fried.
You don't have your ballots yet, do you?
I have my absentee
You have
ballots.
absentees, okay.
And I've already started mailing a bunch of those out. I'd have to look to give you the exact date. I don't know why the 20th is jumping out at me of August, but there's a process. You do an application, there has to be ID. We have to make sure you're on the registered voters list. So those are all things we have to have in place before you could actually do that.
You can qualify for absentee ballot for any reason right now, right?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
And you can still register to vote up until, August the 10th, I believe. Is the deadline for voting, or registering to vote.
What'd you say, when is the election?
It's the 25th,
Yeah, I
August the
thought it was
25th.
Any runoffs will be in October, is that correct?
It's October the 6th.
All righty. I don't have anything else today. I appreciate everybody coming. If we don't have any other items today, we'll stand adjourned and we'll see you Monday night, if not before. Thanks for coming.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.